Welcome back, everybody, to our next segment of Cityline here on our Juneteenth edition. My name is Chris Service from Tacoma Little Theater subbing in for Amanda today, and I'm so happy to welcome in our friends from the Emergency Food Network. I have on the couch with me Sam Walker, the Director of Programs for EFN, and next to her, JT Santos, who's the Assistant Warehouse Manager at EFN. Welcome, both of you, to Cityline. We're so happy to have you here. And Sam, we're here for some important reasons because there have been some funding cuts, and that's going to be impacting some food insecurity in our community right now. So can you tell us a little bit about that and walk us through that?
Absolutely. Well, the impact is huge. The landscape is changing every day, but since the beginning of the year, there have been $20 million of projected federal funding cuts just for food assistance in Washington state. So that's a huge impact on Emergency Food Network and our budget, but it also impacts the food pantries we serve and, more importantly, the individuals in our community who rely on emergency food programs.
Wow. And correct me if I'm wrong, $1 feeds 2 meals?
Yes.
So that's $20 million of food cut. If you do the math there.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge.
And of course, we're also concerned about the additional and proposed cuts to SNAP and Medicaid programs. Those would just drive even more people to food pantries, and there's already just such an increased need in our community.
Now, with our food pantries in our community, your partners with that, what are they saying about the situation? What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, well, they're concerned. They're unsure of how they're going to keep food banks stocked with healthy, nutritious food at the level of service that they want to provide. There's already been a 17% increase in visits to food pantries this year compared to 2024. Ultimately, we are really relying on the generous and compassionate community here in Pierce County. We're looking for local support. We're looking for people to really step up and show how Pierce County takes care of one another.
So you're looking for that support for people to step up. What can they do? What can people do to help show their support for you?
Well, one thing that's really important is advocacy. I would really encourage individuals to call their local representatives and tell them your story. Tell them the story of somebody that you love and that you care about and why these cuts would impact them, why they rely on SNAP, Medicaid, and emergency food programs. It's so essential to tell these stories and make sure that they hear us.
Well, and you probably remember the stat better than I do, but is it 1 in 4 of us?
1 in 4 people visited a food pantry in Washington state last year. 1 in 4. Yeah, it's a huge number. This is not a problem that is surface level or just a small group of people. This affects everybody in our community.
Can you share a story that shows the impact of EFN and your partners?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently we interacted with a woman who's 82 years old and still working in a lunch cafeteria, unable to retire because she's on a fixed income. And although she had kind of plotted out how she was able to afford rent and other basic needs, food was sort of left out, and it was something that she regularly was concerned about. So we were able to get her signed up for our senior food box program, which is called CSFP. It's actually a federally funded program that's at risk of being cut. And it provides a box of monthly food staples. And this allowed her to sort of decide that she was going to retire this year. And that's a huge life-changing thing for someone. And that's just one person's story. I mean, millions of people in this country are impacted by these cuts. Wow.
Now, outside of funding cuts, we're coming upon summertime, and this is a meaningful time to take action. Why?
Yeah, well, here in Pierce County, 52% of students are on free and reduced lunch. That's over 70,000 kids. And so those kids are getting breakfast and lunch at school each day. And when they're not in school, then they're not being fed. And so they rely on summer meal programs and food pantries to really fill that gap. And this is sort of a time that we realize that hunger can be an invisible problem because we're not seeing those kids. We don't understand that they're going hungry every day. And so it's important to just keep them in mind and focus on the most vulnerable in our community.
Wow, 52%.
Yeah.
JT, how can people get involved with EFN this summer since it is such an important time?
Summer's a great time to get involved with EFN. There are several opportunities. One biggest and most efficient and easy way is donate. Every single dollar donated contributes to 2 meals to individuals facing food insecurity.
So you've got a few different programs. One of the ones I want to ask you about right now, and it's one that I know about, is the Repack program. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about Repack?
Repack. So Repack is a program where we purchase food staples such as pasta, oats, and rice in large bulk size quantities and distribute them out to our partners throughout, and they distribute to the individuals facing food insecurity.
That's wonderful. Now, what does volunteering look like when you go to the Repack?
Oh, man. it's really hard to dial it down into, from emotions. Volunteers come in with great attitudes, high energy. It's very team oriented, and we often have a lot of music going on. So it's from sorting food, scooping, and labeling food items, and where we go back and we distribute that out to our partners. But it's a very high energy and very uplifting environment, and you're working alongside community members for a great cause.
Now, I have the in-track because I know that different community organizations help with the Repack. Rotary Aid is one of them that does it as well. But how does an organization step up and say, we want to help? How can we become involved?
You can visit our website, reach out to other food organizations like EFN, other food pantries as well. And then also home delivery program is another one of the volunteer opportunity. Where we distribute, or volunteers come in and they distribute food to senior citizens that can't make it to the food pantry. So
that's fantastic. And I know, Sam, you and I were just talking about that a moment ago, the home delivery program, because I know some people who drive for that. What's the need for that like in our community right now?
There's a huge need. Right now we have a 500-person wait list actually for our home delivery program. And one of the biggest barriers we have for adding more people is those home delivery drivers. We rely on a group of about 45 volunteer drivers that are driving their own cars loaded with boxes of food that are going out all over Pierce County. And we can always use people that can just do backup driving, or maybe they know somebody else that, hey, is retired and has some extra time. Definitely refer them to us to be a home delivery driver.
That's fantastic. And it's Tuesdays and Fridays?
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Are the shifts for that?
Yes. And for people who don't have time, the other thing is food and fun drives. Those are really essential in our community. It can be such a low lift. You can do it at your place of work, at school, place of worship. Get a group of people together, put out a box, and really think about those staples, things like peanut butter, things like canned tuna. Those canned proteins are really essential to have at food pantries, and especially as we're seeing more and more families that are relying on those staples. We need bang for buck. Really think about what are those items that people need to maximize a meal.
Yeah, and it's a really fun way to rally together for a great cause and also help put food on the shelves and nutritious items.
And where are you all located? If somebody was to come and do a Repack, where are you located?
Yeah, we're in Lakewood. We are off of 92nd Street in South Tacoma Way, a super central location in Pierce County.
That's wonderful. And if there are citizens in our community who need food and security assistance, how do they get in contact with you?
They should go to our website. We have a great interactive map. You just click the Find Food button, and you can put in your address, and it will help kind of route you based off of location, based off day and time, based off the specific service that you're looking for. And you can also always call us. We know that people have barriers with access to internet. If you call us, we will just talk you through the resources near you and help you find a food pantry.
Sam and JT, thank you so much for joining us today and letting us know that summer is an important time to get out there and help for EFN. Now, you'll want to stick around for our next segment. You'll want to stretch a little bit too, because we have Unleashed at Stadium Bowl coming up, and I got tired just reading the description of it. So we will see you back shortly, everybody, after the break. Thank you.